Now, saffron has been around in cooking for many, many years, but now there's some new saffron on the market, premium Indian saffron. Mahbir, you're here to tell us about that. Now, saffron, as we've just been talking about, by weight is probably the most expensive spice in the world, isn't it?
Indeed. I think it's thinking about is expensive, maybe not necessarily the right word, but costly because it has to be individually handpicked. Where a lot of other spices are processed by machines, it requires that somebody who is going to firstly pick the saffron stigma from the actual flower, and then once again it is separated from usually the tasteless yellow-white part to get the prized red saffron.
Now, what differentiates a saffron that I might see in the supermarkets to a premium saffron that you have? In coffees you can do it by taste. Is it the same with saffron by taste?
Well, typically with any actually spices or herbs, if it be oregano or paprika, it should not be exposed to light. That's for that reason why Indian housewives tend to have a spice box which is made of stainless steel, which is not exposed to light at all. And with saffron, a lot of supermarkets, and we have some examples here at the exhibition stand, from Sainsbury's to Costco, the La Mancha from Spain, are exposed to a lot of light over an extensive period of time, so they tend to go brittle and to dry up. Our saffron comes directly from the cooperative farmers in Kashmir. In actual fact, the saffron that we are offering at the BBC Good Food Show arrived yesterday, so it's this year's harvest from 3 weeks ago. And it's completely not exposed to any light. It's the freshest, single origin, high quality product, supporting the cooperative. And we really are giving the opportunity for visitors and guests to the stand here to visually see and compare what is the difference.
Now, the base product comes from the crocus flower and is hand-picked and then dried, isn't it, before it's packed. How long does that take?
This process typically is that the saffron flower, the strand has to be picked from the flower, and then any strands that have been picked out in the flower has to be harvested within 12 hours, because then the moisture builds up. It's the saffron flower as a whole has a lot of moisture inside, and if it's not picked, if it's not harvested within those 12 hours and then dried in the oven, then the flower starts to go moldy. So there's a very short period, so whatever flowers that are picked, the strands have to be taken out of the flower within that 12-hour period and then dried before packing.
Now, I guess saffron is one of those ingredients that, because it's so expensive, many cooks at home are frightened to use it for either misusing it or using too much of it and it being very costly. What are the things that we can use saffron in, and why shouldn't we be frightened of using it?
Well, one of the main opportunities we saw for saffron, first of all, we wanted to present a brand new premium Indian food product. And secondly, by the variety of ready-to-eat, high-quality made products that we're offering alongside the saffron strands, they all have saffron as the notable flavor profile. So we believe that if saffron can be introduced to them through these familiar everyday products, such as the tangy orange marmalade, the crisp apple jam, or the Belgian milk chocolate, then consumers have a benchmark as to what the saffron should taste like, and then hopefully they should feel comfortable to use it. And on top of that, we're also giving out a variety of recipe cards, one of which is a homemade custard recipe, proper homemade custard recipe, on how to infuse it with saffron. But also we have a little cheat sheet on that recipe card that if you want to use your typical store-bought powder, adding saffron strands just before boiling the milk can turn an everyday custard powder, shop-bought custard, into something absolutely premium. So it's really creating those ideas, that opportunity that people feel that they can make something that's every day with a few strands of saffron a little bit more special, a little bit more premium, something extra moment to treasure.
Give me an idea of the taste that saffron adds to a dish.
From an aromatics perspective, it's got a very musky aroma, and then from the taste profile, it's very floral and earthy. And it's careful that leaving it for infused for no more than 10 to 15 minutes, if it be in hot milk or in hot water, because like similar to Earl Grey tea, it can go very bitter. So, for example, one of our serving suggestions is to make saffron-infused ice cubes, which go perfectly with gin and tonic. And when it's frozen, the saffron-infused water, it doesn't age the saffron because it freezes the aging process. Whereas if you put saffron in hot water and then put it in the fridge, picking that same jar of saffron-infused water a few days later, you'll find that it's got a very bitter taste and the saffron strands have lost their colour.
Like a tannin that you get with the tea, similar principle.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned this being hand-picked in Kashmir. Sustainability is obviously important, and also providing trade for the pickers over there is important. So this is a benefit all round, isn't it?
This is really from my origin as being a second-generation Indian, that I didn't want to create a business or a brand or a product selection which is Indian-inspired, but really is proudly made in India. And really to introduce that a premium food product where, okay, we have Indian ethnic shops, but why isn't there no Indian food brand when there's such a high appreciation in the UK for Indian food that could be in Waitrose, for example, or in Fortnum Mason? And we've worked directly with the cooperative together to source the saffron at a price where they're able to have the most return revenue for their hard work, but also that the supply chain is as short as possible, so it prevents any potential contamination or anybody influencing it. So we can promise European consumers the health and safety standards that they would naturally expect in European products.
Marvellous. One final question. You must be thinking about new recipes all the time to introduce saffron into. What's possibly the wackiest thing that you're thinking of at the moment of putting saffron in?
We're looking at saffron-infused shortbread for next year because the chocolate has proven very popular. And especially shortbread with Asian marks for people who are visiting at Birmingham Airport to those in the UK. Really appreciate shortbread, and we've been really taken aback in a very positive way today, especially the UK launch and the first day of the show, of the very positive reaction and the discovery also with the dried saffron flower petals which have been embellished on our chocolate product.
It's interesting, isn't it, talking to a lot of the exhibitors here. Maybe the people coming through the door are now wanting to know the provenance of the products that they buy, and they're wanting to feel that the money they spend more of it is going directly to the producers, and that's becoming increasingly important, isn't it?
Yes, I think also regardless of wherever the product is from, okay, local is very important, but some things don't naturally come. In India, the political situation, the demonetization has happened recently, and it's presented challenges. You know, I could also share I could write a book and share experiences of what life could be after Brexit, because India is a third country. It has been a very big learning curve for me, especially as never having imported before, and also the cooperative never exported before. But it's been a learning curve that we've worked on together over the past 2 years, and we're all really supportive. And it's also the same for the chocolate manufacturer and the jam producers. And it's been with the best intentions to deliver the visitors here at the show the fantastic quality product and to introduce them to saffron.
It's a great story. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.